What if survival itself depended not on the hunt of great beasts or the harvest of roots, but on the perilous pursuit of sweetness? 5.8 million years ago, when the first Australopithecines roamed the trembling edges of the savanna, honey was no simple treat. It was lifeblood. But how could fragile hands and bare bodies wrest sustenance from swarms of stinging guardians? And what happened when this search for sweetness clashed with predators, storms, and rival tribes? The story begins not in silence, but in frenzy. A small band of Australopithecus moves quickly across the dry grasslands, their bodies low, their gestures urgent. A woman carries a bundle of smoldering twigs, the thin trails of smoke dancing behind her as if chased by invisible spirits. Others clutch crude stone flakes, edges sharpened against the bones of yesterday's kill. Their eyes are fixed upward, following the flicker of wings above a broken baobab tree. High in its hollowed trunk lies what they seek, a hive swollen with honeycomb, golden and glistening. They advance, but danger is immediate. Clouds of bees burst forth, a living storm that engulfs their heads and arms. They do not flee. The woman with smoke lifts her bundle higher, circling the tree, wafting fumes that twist the swarm into confusion. Another climbs, pressing his bare body against the bark, inching toward the hive with reckless courage. His fingers reach, plunging into wax and honey tearing free, dripping combs that glisten in the sun. He drops them down, and the tribe lunges, pressing the sticky treasure into leaves, into mouths, into waiting hands of children. For a moment, there is triumph. Faces shine with nectar, the taste of survival melting into their tongues. But the scent of honey carries far, and on the horizon predators stir. A striped shape emerges from the tall grass, a saber-toothed cat, its eyes fixed on the noise, the movement, the scent of sugar and blood. The tribe stiffens. One man hurls a stone not to wound, but to warn. Another thrusts a sharpened branch into the earth, a crude barrier between flesh and fang. The honeycomb feast turns instantly into a standoff, sweetness versus survival. They scatter, circling, surrounding the predator as it advances. The cat lunges, but hesitates at the burning smoke and the sharp cries of the band. The hunter with the honey climbs down chest, heaving his hands dripping with sweetness and sting welts. The group retreats toward the river, carrying both wounds and food, their unity stronger than the beast's hunger. But the river is no sanctuary. The rains have swollen its banks, and the current thrashes like a beast of its own. The tribe gathers, clutching combs tight, eyes darting for a crossing. They weave leaves into bundles, fastening them as makeshift rafts. Children cling to their mothers' backs as the band steps into the churning water. One by one, they wade, stumble, push against the torrent. And then the storm breaks. Thunder cracks, wind lashes, and the river swells further, threatening to sweep them into oblivion. Honey drips from trembling hands into the water, dissolving like fleeting hope. Survival is no longer about feasting. It is about holding together, resisting both the river's fury and the hunger of the world around them. The storm rages as if the sky itself has chosen sides. Lightning carves the horizon into jagged flashes, illuminating the tribe's struggle against the river. Their bodies strain, muscles taut water, surging to their chests. One of the elders slips the bundle of honeycomb, tearing from his arms, vanishing beneath the torrent. A cry erupts, not of despair, but warning. The current carries more than water. A crocodile's eyes gleam just beneath the surface, circling, drawn by the vibration of limbs thrashing against the current. The band surges together, Spears of sharpened wood rise held firm even as waves batter their legs. One brave hunter thrusts downward, the tip striking scale, not flesh, but enough to jolt the predator back into the depths. Another wave crashes, forcing them to cling tighter to one another, the honey dripping from their wounds mixing with rain. Against the fury of beast and storm, survival now demands unity. At last they reach the far bank, collapsing onto the mud, gasping like fish torn from the sea. Children cling to mothers, their tiny fists still sticky with what remains of the hive's sweetness. But there is no rest. The sky still churns, and in the distance the grass ripples with more movement, not the wind, but figures. A rival band emerges, shadows of other Australopithecus, drawn by the same lure of honey. Their bodies glisten with rain, their eyes sharp with hunger and suspicion. The two tribes face one another, thunder echoing between them. The first band clutches their remaining honeycomb shoulders, hunched ready to defend it with sharpened stone. The rival group steps closer, their leader raising a hand not in peace, but in demand. Tension coils the storm itself, seeming to hold its breath. Then, like predators circling prey, the rival tribe advances low and deliberate. The clash is sudden. Stones fly, branches strike, and cries pierce the thunder. Bodies collide in primal desperation. The fight not for conquest, but for sweetness, the rarest lifeblood in a harsh land. One woman shields a child behind her, baring teeth as she swings a branch. Another falls bruised, but not broken, scrambling to rise again. The honey drips onto the ground, wasted, trampled into mud, but no one yields. Amid the chaos, the storm shifts. A gust tears through the clearing, scattering sparks from the smoldering branch carried since the beginning. The fire flares as it strikes dry grass, and suddenly the battlefield transforms. Flames leap upward, devouring the rain-drenched savanna, hissing and snapping as if enraged by the struggle of mortals. Both tribes freeze their battle, swallowed by a greater force. The fire forces them back, driving enemies and allies alike toward the river's edge once more. What began as a feast has become an inferno. Faces glow red in the light of burning grass, eyes wide with terror and awe. Some clutch combs, still unwilling to abandon the sweetness that nearly destroyed them. Others hurl it into the water, as if offering to the flames a sacrifice. Survival demands retreat, but survival also demands choice. Fight the fire or flee into the unknown. The tribes scatter not as enemies, but as survivors pushed by fire and storm into the depths of the night. The honey is no longer a prize, but a curse, a reminder that every sweetness in this world carries its price. Night swallows the savanna, the storm's fury ebbing into a steady rhythm of rain. The tribe, battered and scattered, regroups beneath a rocky overhang. Bodies pressed together for warmth. Smoke clings to their skin, honey still sticky on their arms, the taste of both triumph and loss lingering. In the distance, the rival tribe also finds shelter, their silhouettes flickering in the firelight that still gnaws at the grasslands. For a moment, there is no war, only survival under the same wounded sky. Yet, danger has not passed. From the shadows of the rocks, eyes gleam a pack of hyenas drawn by the chaos, the smell of blood and sweetness. The tribe stiffens. Spears rise, stones are clutched. The predators advance, cackling, weaving in and out of the fire's glow. Children are pushed to the back, the strongest stepping forward. A hunter hurls a stone that cracks against a skull. Another thrusts a sharpened stick, driving back a snapping jaw. The clash is raw, frantic, each movement born of desperation. But unity prevails. Shoulder to shoulder, the band drives the hyenas away, their cries fading into the night. When the last predator retreats, silence settles heavy sacred. The tribe breathes as one, bodies trembling, but alive. At dawn, the sky clears. Steam rises from scorched earth, and the honey they fought for is nearly gone. Yet in its absence, something greater remains. The group gathers around a small fire rekindled from the embers they saved. They share what little sweetness survives, breaking pieces of comb with careful hands, placing them into the mouths of children first. Smiles flicker across weary faces, laughter trembling at the edges of exhaustion. In this fragile moment, they discover a deeper truth. Honey was never just food, but a symbol of unity of courage against storm beast and rival. The sweetness lingers not on their tongues, but in their bond, in the knowledge that survival is not won by strength alone, but by endurance, by standing together. And so they rise sticky with honey, and scars stepping into the new day, not as mere survivors of the night, but as a people bound by the sweetness of survival itself.